Thank you. Please welcome next, Matt Wright to the podium. Matt was selected by his classmates to speak to and on behalf of the class of 2012. Intelligent, quick-witted, insightful, spirited, and personable are just a few words to use to describe Matt. His accomplishments in the classroom, in the band, and on the ball court have been a pleasure to watch and enjoy. All these different activities and personal qualities have made him a natural choice to serve in a leadership capacity as a GO cabinet member. Matt, we wish you much success at the University of Maryland next year. You too will represent Lakeland well.
Forgot my flowers for this chair. Good morning, students, faculty, family, and anyone else that got stuck here today. I'd like to start off by expressing again how truly humble I am to be speaking to all of you. I'll begin by thanking Dr. Stone, the board, Ms. Urish, Ms. Chan, and Mr. Mercurio, all the big guns. I also want to thank all the faculty members who have guided us to this point, not only through education, but also by passing on to us their knowledge and wisdom of life outside of school, and by being some of the role models that many of us look up to. Thank you. And finally, I'd like to thank the people who are the sole reasons we're here today, our parents. Parenting is perhaps the world's most thankless job. At least I know the words my parents have not heard me say enough. Hopefully we've made you proud. Now, can I please have a round of applause for everybody I just said? You guys don't have to clap until my 10-minute standing ovation at the end. Alright, well now that that's over, I promise, I already said that. As you've probably figured out by now, I've been asked to speak on behalf of the class of 2012. Now, this is no easy task. I mean, take a look at us and you'll see pretty much all the cliche high school cliques. We've got jocks, nerds, drama kids, band geeks, and even a few wannabe thugs. Sorry guys, you live in Westchester. Anyway, it's easy to see that the class of 2012 is about as diverse as they come, and maybe this is one of the reasons I so enjoyed my high school years. Well, even if I didn't really know you, but if you thought I was a jerk, even if when we passed each other in an empty hallway, maybe on the way to the bathroom, we would glance up and then take out our cell phones to avoid awkward eye contact. Well, we made this journey together, and it's a huge step in life, and I wrote this speech with all of you in mind. If graduating from high school is one thing, it makes you think. Now, I get asked to speak at the graduation, and you'll be feeling like you're Socrates or something. So it's safe to say there have been a few things on my mind lately. For the last few weeks, I would wake up every morning, and my first concern would be, do I have enough gas to get to JV Bagels? Now, gas is expensive, so usually the answer to that would be no. So my next concern would be, did my mom buy Captain Crunch the last time she went shopping? Also, no, she bought Cheerios. I don't like Cheerios. And then thirdly, I'll remember, oh yeah, I've got to speak to everybody and represent my entire high school class. Now, getting ranked right after Captain Crunch is actually a pretty big deal, so when I got around to sitting down to write this speech, I did the only thing any sensible high school student would do. I Googled best graduation speech ever. Awesome graduation raps and speeches of epic proportions on YouTube ended 3 hours later with me watching cats playing foosball. They were bad. Now, this is usually about the time when I would go to my teacher and say, what? No, I definitely gave you that assignment, you must have lost it. But suddenly I was hit with the realization that this time that would not fly. This frightening thought spurred me to do something that many of us don't really get to do that much anymore. I sat alone and I thought. I wasn't playing Doodle Jump or watching Family Guy. Just thinking. And one of the things that seems to cross my mind over and over again was time. Time is a very curious thing. When looked back upon, our first school experiences seem within reach, almost recent. Yet we first boarded the bus to head off to school almost 13 years ago. Now, the other two girls talked about change, and I'm just going to reiterate, when we walked into kindergarten, Bill Clinton was president. Creed had a #1 song, and we listened to that song on CD players. Well, that's the past. There's a famous concept about time, that the end of this sentence is in the future, and after a few more words, it will be in the past. Do you remember that sentence? Do you remember those first days of school, story time, the first time your feet ever kicked off the swings of the playground, the smell of Play-Doh, the taste of Play-Doh? We all tried it, it was curious. And what about middle school? The seemingly nonsensical concept of having more than one teacher, canteens, having to swim, trying to figure out a way to change without losing all your dignity. And in my case, growing 12 inches in 8th grade. That's my awkward face. And finally, the place we're leaving today, high school. Freshman year, weaving through the crowded senior hallways full of kids who were clearly on some sort of growth hormones. Never getting to do any of the sports you wanted to in gym. For the first time in your life, having to wait for the bus in December before the sun even came up. Cold world. Getting booed at pep rallies, lots of good times. But, however, we were glad to discover that high school wasn't all about being scared and getting booed. Our sophomore years, we grew into our high school physiques a little more. The seniors were maybe a little less giant, and we actually got to sit in the stands at pep rally. Then came junior year, which had its ups and downs. I mean, on one hand, we had so much work to do. We worried about SATs, ACTs, keeping up our GPAs, and too many letters to remember. But then again, we were pretty much upperclassmen. We drove around, played varsity sports, and complained about how lame the senior class was. And finally, senior year. Have to admit it felt pretty good. Although I'm serious, the seniors from 4 years ago were like twice my size. We applied to college, found out where we were going, and caught major cases of the fabled senioritis. And we prepared ourselves for the next chapter of our lives. Or did we? I know that I thought I was ready, that I couldn't wait to get out of this place and go off on my own, off to college to work hard and party harder and all that good stuff. But when the last day of school came, the realization hit me like a ton of bricks. Everything I just described to you, from kindergarten to senior year, was done. Grade school was finished, and that chapter of all of our lives was over. And even as I wrote this speech, as I stand here today, I'm still not sure if I have what it takes to live the life that I dream of. However, again, I'm speaking at graduation, so this is a part of my speech where I tend to be a little inspirational and leave you all with words of wisdom. And I wasn't sure if I could think of those words myself, so I'll just tell you something my mom always told me. Matthew, you're the most handsome boy in school. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. But seriously, graduating from high school is a huge step that presents infinite opportunity. As I look out amongst my classmates and friends, I see enormous potential. And if you're sitting in that crowd of students, and you can't see it in yourself and in others, wake up. Like every old person has ever said, this is America. Snooki can make millions of dollars for being an Italian Oompa Loompa. And if you don't exactly meet that criteria, the opportunity is still there. When you move on from high school, you have the opportunity to become the person you have always wanted to be, and that you have always dreamed of becoming. If stereotypes, family situations, shyness, or anything else kept you from being or doing what you wanted in high school, break free. Seize every moment that you can. Shed the skin that suffocates you. Above all else, it is your belief in yourself that determines your success. And with that, I'll leave you with a quote from the late, brilliant Steve Jobs. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Have a better life.